things that distinguishes the Green Party so clearly from the Lib Dems is that we do stick to our principles. I think people will be so shocked to see the gap between what the Lib Dems said in their election campaign and what they're delivering now. Let me make it clear, first of all, that I don't criticise Nick Clegg for making a deal, a coalition. I think coalition government can often be very good, and obviously it's often the outcome of proportional representation, which is what we want to see. But what I do criticise Nick Clegg for, absolutely, is the terms of the deal that he has struck with David Cameron, because that has required him to give up so many long-held principles of the Lib Dems. And I think many people who voted Lib Dem are going to be absolutely horrified, are already horrified, to see what they've actually voted in. So whether that's these horrendous, brutal, savage cuts, which aren't only going to hurt the poor hardest. We know now from a new report they're going to hurt the poor 10 times harder than the richest, that they're going to be even worse for women, that they are going to be decimating communities up and down the country. Now, this was a Lib Dem party that said if they went into government that they would make fairness its hallmark. Well, I think we can see that's simply completely not the case. On other really key principles of Lib Dem policy, not little details, but core principles, things like opposition to trident nuclear weapons, that has been something that the Lib Dems have espoused for many years, and yet now, because they're linked with the Conservatives, they're not going to be able to properly campaign against it. If you're looking at things like nuclear power, again, they're going to be muzzled on that because they can't properly make the case for green energy, for real investment in renewable energy, energy efficiency, all of the things that they said they were going to do. And so whether we're talking about energy, or if we're talking about nuclear weapons, or if we're talking about fairness, if we're talking about rail fares, again, they promised not, in fact, they promised to reduce rail fares. Instead, they've gone ahead with more increases. So on a whole range of issues, they've sold out. And perhaps for me, one of the biggest betrayals is the way in which they've sold out on electoral reform as well. The party has stood for genuine electoral reform for decades, and now they had an opportunity where they could have really tried to put that into effect. And instead they've settled for the crumbs from the Tory table, which is simply an alternative vote, which is not anything like as fair and as proportional as we need if we're serious about opening up to Westminster to new voices and new influences.